departments have been very influential in my academic success. I transferred to UC Davis 2 years ago as a reentry student with 2 children ages 5 and 3. After graduation, I plan to attend medical school. My career passion is to become a pediatrician or emergency room physician in Vallejo, California, which is an underserved community that I grew up in and has a large population of individuals experiencing health disparities. I knew prior to attending Davis that the coursework and the pace would be much different than my community college experience. But I knew that I was up for the challenge because I had faced challenges before and overcame them. After my freshman year at Xavier University in Ohio, I had to withdraw because I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. Receiving that diagnosis at 19 years old was a life-changing moment for me, but I had the desire to make the best out of the way things turned out for me. Despite my isolating and emotional battle with cancer, it prepared me in many ways for the unforeseen hardships ahead. As a result of my successful cancer treatment, I became resilient. I was no longer fearful about my ability to succeed in life. My transition to Davis was very difficult because the support system which I built with my counselors and professors at my community college no longer existed. There was definitely a culture shock for me on this campus as well because of the lack of diversity. I felt isolated from my peers because I was a minority student and a single parent. I remember crying after the 4th week of school because I didn't understand Physics 7A, and there were no textbooks to reference for the course. I spent half of my day in TA office hours with no improvement. I had little to no exposure prior to attending Davis, and I was generally lost and seeking help. The TA ratio was about 40-1, and the classroom runs out of seats quickly, and I felt like when I showed up, I was treated differently. I eventually gave up TA office hours because I felt talked down to, and I became increasingly embarrassed when I tried to get help. In my physics discussion lab, where we spent 5 hours a week engaging in peer learning, I did not feel included by my peers. I felt discounted when I put my input. I began to feel defeated, and I was ready to quit. I considered the pros and cons of withdrawing from school. I thought of 3 things. 1, my children are depending on me to provide a better future for them. I also promised my mentor and my top advisor at my community college, Carlos Carter, that I wouldn't let him down. I told myself, if cancer couldn't defeat me, why let these ill-mannered people in the physics classroom stop me from achieving my dreams? So I went to the computer and I Googled UC Davis physics tutors. The first search brought me to Sassy Dropping Hours page, where I located the physics tutors in Denton Hall. The space was small and the time with the tutors is very short. But that day, when I met Casey Davis, one of the physics specialists, my day changed for the better. I began attending his physics workshops, which were extremely helpful and relevant to improving my grade in the class. Next, I met Emily Prieto on the stairs of MRAC during a tuition hike protest. I talked to her about how I was having a hard time in school and as a single parent with no familial support, working part-time, trying to afford childcare, rent, and keeping my grades up. She shared with me her individual path and education at UC Davis, and her story was very inspirational to me. When we met next, she brainstormed ideas to get support for me on campus. Next, she directed me to Dean Hildreth, and I'm so thankful that she did. I met Dean Hildreth during my winter quarter, and he was the most inspirational and humble person that I've ever met. I was happy to have someone in the biology department for the first time that I could identify with. Around the same time, I met Caden Carter, who referred me to Ramona Norton, and he also told me about a new club on campus called Black Community of Science. Caden and Ramona both, they took me under their wing and gave me endless support. Attending the Black Community of Science study sessions helped me to feel grounded on campus with other students of color who were also studying difficult subject matters and understood the frustrations I experienced in the classroom. After attending the first study session, I felt a sense of belonging on this campus. Through the camp program, I was able to get one-on-one tutoring for 2 hours a week in Sassy. I worked closely with Sam Raskin and Carol Hunter. They were very kind and open to my concerns. As my grades began to improve, I would periodically stop by and let them know the good news. My spring quarter was the best quarter at Davis thus far because I met 3 phenomenal professors, one which I wasn't even supposed to meet because African American Studies classes weren't on my educational plan. Milman Harrison, Thomas Hahn, and Walter Liao, they all motivated me through their teaching style. They met with me outside of office hours when I told them I had childcare problems and work conflicts. They were the most passionate instructors that I have ever met since attending Davis. They cared beyond the classroom and they strived to see their students do well. Over the summer, I decided to retake Physics 7B again because I barely passed in the winter quarter. The summer session was quite different from the regular school year. Lectures were online and office hours conflicted with my other MPB class. I attended drop-in hours with Casey, but they weren't always helpful during the summer because there were way too many students that all needed help. Having developed a support system, I knew what to do when I was in danger of failing the class again. So I spoke to Emily and APC Milton Lane over the summer about my academic struggles in physics. And with only 2 weeks left in the summer session, they were able to give me some support from SASE specialists Chad, Lady, and Casey. They both were glad to meet with me during their prep hours to get me ready for the final. As a result, I scored an 89% on the final and finished with an A+ in physics. This moment was so unreal for me because I finally was able to take a physics final with confidence instead of walking out in tears. By the end of my spring 15 quarter, I now built my support system at Davis with my vast counselor Joyce, Caden, Carlos, and Dean Hildreth, Deanna Bell, my 3 professors, Ramona Norton, Sam and Carol, Emily and Adela. Oftentimes as students, we shy away from academic advisors because we're intimidated by the perceived transcript judgment conversation. I now have come to the realization that my GPA is not a reflection of my capabilities. Joyce Fernandez was the only advisor that believed in me before I believed in myself. She had a choice, but never deterred me from pursuing my degree path despite the university challenge. She recognized that I was not the typical student, and she proceeded to advise me, keeping my life complexities in mind. Although she couldn't identify with my daily emotional, academic, and financial battles, she still went out of her way to identify other means of support. Because of her unique approach, I was able to see change. Academic advisors have a unique role in students' life, and it's very important to treat every student as an individual. Your words are powerful and can bring on immediate frustration or ultimately provide the opportunity for growth, advancement, and success. The drop-in tutoring services, workshops, and one-on-one tutoring offered by SASE has been vital in my success at Davis as a single parent working part-time. I hope the university continues to invest in these programs and brings in more qualified tutors and bigger spaces so that more students can benefit like I have. Thank you all for supporting me to achieve my goals and giving me the opportunity to share my story with you all today.